This is the carriage we're going to be riding today, and this is Smokey, our guest. So it's cold out here, but I think it's worth it. Okay, we're starting on the horse-drawn carriage ride. Look at this.
Jekyll Hotel after we get past these trees. So it was built in 1887. It took 2 years to complete and $45,000 to build, which is about $1.5 million now. This section is facing the river. Here was the original section built back then, and a bunch of add-ons have happened since then, including the annex, which we'll get to at the end of the tour, the pool bar, the pool, elevators, and electricity. But I really don't suggest those elevators. You guys go in there because they're really rickety.
We'll take your advice on that.
The main important thing that happened in the Club Hotel was in the Great Dining Hall. A very important meeting took place in 1910 between a bunch of U.S. delegates to discuss a centralized banking system. The meeting was held in such secrecy that they traded the staff in this hotel out with the Oglethorpe Hotel staff in Brunswick, so no faces were recognized because they knew all the rich people because they worked for them. And these people basically owned America at the time. So, everyone came in different boats, different times, different days, and in very common attire to uphold the secrecy. And what came out of this was our U.S. Federal Reserve System that we have today. Hence why they upheld that. And so the Great Dining Hall is called the Federal Reserve Room now. Toilet fixtures, which we still have around today.
Yeah, I have seen those.
But he got his main ticket to fame through his colored toilet fixtures because he believed ladies needed pink toilets, so he made that. This is our largest and most expensive cottage on the island. It costed $100,000 to build, which is about $2.5 million.
Whoa, that's a steal back then.
Oh, yeah.
Well, now it would be.
It also has 17 bathrooms and 20 bedrooms.
Wow. Looks like they're about to have an event out here.
Yep, they average 6 weddings a weekend out here. This one's chargeable to the Club Hotel, so you can either own one of the rooms or the whole cottage. But you can't get the whole cottage unless you get the wedding package,
Gotcha.
which is $30,000.
So this is the crane cottage.
And if you have more money, you could stay there longer.
Yes, I had people on my carriage that rented the crane out for 2 days and the Faith Chapel behind it, just in case.
Good idea.
So this is not the first cottage that was built in this location. The first one was the Solterra Cottage, which burnt down in 1950. And that was built by David Baker. Come on, bud. He knows that's the way down. He's trying to tell you. And I mention that because when Mr. Booker sold this plot of land, so he sold the third house to Mr. Crane, which we'll get to see that.
It's disturbed by my energy.
I would have loved to see what this one would have looked like. I mean, in its full glory when it was still standing.
They have pictures on the Jekyll Island Authority website thingy, or the Jekyll Island website. I'm not sure what it's called.
GIA or something like that.
Yeah. It's JIA. They have a restoration project planned for this one, don't they? Or a preservation project?
I don't know.
Hey,
This is the ruins of the Chickada Cottage. It was built in 1895 by David King Jr. He was also responsible for building Madison Square Gardens, Liberty Island, and the Basin Statuette.
Wow.
This had the first indoor swimming pool in the United States, as you can see in there. It was the only single-story cottage on the island. This was the home of Edwin Gould and his family after Jr. sold it to him.
I believe the Gould family's still over here in this area. I don't know if it's the same one.
I got people on my carriage that had some Goulds move in next door.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure it was the
I know
same
there's some on
Goulds.
St. Simon's.
So, after that it was a little bit too traumatic to keep coming back to the island, so they just stopped and it went into a state of disrepair. And then when the state left this area alone for 36 years, it got even worse. So they just tore it down and left a brick outline, well, not a brick outline, the foundation as to not lose whole history. The second son did come back for his daughter Mariana. He built that house across the way. which you can't see because there's a tree there. We'll explain more about that when we get to it. Over here to our right is the Hollybourne Cottage, built in 1890 by Charles Stewart Maurice. Mr. Maurice was a bridge builder, so he decided to construct his cottage in the same fashion as one would a bridge, meaning there are no supporting walls on the inside.
Wow.
There's only a truss that hangs from the ceiling to evenly distribute the weight across the structure, similar to a bridge. It was built in a local tabby fashion, which is basically ocean cement because there was a kitchen in there, and kitchens were a major fire hazard. And ocean cement was good for not catching on fire. But it had a kitchen in here because they were the ones that visited most often. About 6 months out of the year compared to regular 3. And the reason they had a kitchen and everyone else didn't is because all the dining happened in the club hotel, so they didn't need kitchens.
Yeah, I like that fireplace that's out there on the porch.
Oh yeah.
That's nice.
I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but in the front on the porch is a step out there for ladies. Parents could pull around and drop them off without them showing their ankles.
Oh, ooh, risque. Yeah, back then.
We got in trouble in 2020 for showing shoulders in the historic district. So.
Really?
Yeah. So,
Wow.
we haven't gone that far.
I guess they're still keeping the same traditions over here, aren't they?
Apparently.
Well, when you have those days when it's like 150 degrees outside, you're a little like, I don't even know if I need to be breathing right now.
Yeah. Over here to our right is the Villa Oslo. Oslo is the original name of the island, meaning a land between waters, and that was given by the Muskegon tribe who lived here. After Spain took over, they named it Whale Island off some manatees they saw off the coast, and they thought those were whales. This was built in 1927 by Walter Jennings. He was known as an avid speeder on the island. We know this because when they refounded the club hotel, they found a bunch of documentation of where he had to replace the orders he destroyed when he wrecked his carriages. So, he was the first man to bring an automobile on the island. He had a driveway and a garage installed for said automobile. And the garage is going to be right by that green golf cart once we get to it. But with his need for speed, it shouldn't be a surprise that he was the first man to die in an automobile on the island going 6 miles an hour.
That's horrible.
Which is about how fast as we're going now.
Really? Who the heck he hit?
He hit a tree.
Wow.
He immediately wrote a letter to Ford asking for a new vehicle, and then 19 hours later, he succumbed to internal bleeding.
Oh, okay.
And then, so right after Ford got the letter to get the car, he also got the letter saying Jennings died, disregard that.
Oh, man.
He was embalmed in that top right room up there, which was his bedroom. This is now a Jekyll Island Authority office building, so if you want to go in it, you gotta have a complaint or suggestion, or you gotta rent the thing out.
You got a complaint, Julie?
I know weddings happen in here. So
Oh, okay.
they rent the bottom out for weddings, but it's an office building. Those big red doors right there were the garage, as I mentioned. But cars were a lot smaller, a lot more dangerous back then. So.
Oh, yeah.
Like the one where it's just the open thing with the sticks.
Yeah.
That's the kind Jennings had. I just want to know what tree he hit. Because
Yeah.
these old trees are anywhere from 50 to 300 years old.
Yeah, but you know how many trees are on this island?
He could have been on the other side of the island
Yeah.
running around a dirt road or something. You never know.
Well, this was the only developed part. So
Yeah.
the rest of it was for hunting, and I'm sure he couldn't get his car back there. There was one of the trees in the historic district.
And the bad part out is you wouldn't even see like a place where it's like all marred up because it's all grown over.
But yep.
So how often y'all do carriage rides a day?
We start at 10 a.m. and we go to 1:45, and then we take a break. The horse takes a break, and he comes back out at 5, goes to 9:30.
And what's the name of the business?
3 Oaks Farm. Yeah, Golden Isles Carriage and Control at 3 Oaks Farm.
Okay, I'm giving y'all a shout out on here. That's what I'm gonna put on Facebook. Hey, there's your favorite one, Julie.
This is the back of the Hollybourne Cottage, and you can see here's the laundry facility. Has a fence around it and is sunken in so they can hang up sheets and no one can see their undergarments.
Hey,
That's
what?
the same one with the step out in front.
Did you notice the houses you can go down? Did they have basements?
Yep, the servants were kept in the basements or the attics.
And they didn't leak or anything?
They let them do things, but these were the servants that they brought. This right here is the Gold Casino, built in 1917 by Edmund Gould.
Let's go play.
At
Let's go play.
that time, casino meant gathering place more than gambling place. But Mr. Gould made it to where it was gentlemen's only. Had a rifle range, a bar,
Oh,
a table,
cool.
a card room, and a bowling alley.
That's why it's so big. I was wondering why. It looks like a bunker, though.
We keep our Christmas decorations decorations in there, so. And we have a lot of those, as you can tell. We gotta have a big area for it.
Yeah.
This over here to our left is the Villa Mariana, built in 1928 by Edmund Gould's second son for his daughter Mariana, as I mentioned earlier. It was painted in coral because that was her favorite color, and also built in the Spanish type because that was not seen around here yet. So this trench right here was installed so when the gentleman, her husband, and his friends came over from hunting, they go out there and get the dirt off their shoes before
Oh, okay. That's pretty
those
cool.
fountains are not original. They didn't have running water.
I thought it was like a reflection pool or something. There's the other side of that. What's the name?
Yeah.
That's the cicada.
Jakarta.
You can see how small it is being the only single story on it.
Yeah, it is a lot smaller than all the other ones. I like this. This is a nice one over here.
Oh, yeah. This is the Cherokee Cottage. It was built in 1904 by Edmund Gould for his in-laws, Dr. and Miss Schrady. Dr. Schrady was the only doctor on the island, so everyone was really happy to have him around, considering they were about 45 minutes to an hour's pontoon away from Millionaires. The main reason he built this, though, is not because he thoroughly loved his in-laws or anything. It's because his son, Eddie, thoroughly loved his in-laws.
Okay.
He couldn't stand being away from his grandmother for 3 months at a time, which was vacation season. So he asked his dad to build her a cottage, and in doing so, he built the Cherokee here.
So they came here during the winter or during the summer?
These were their winter cottages.
To get away from the cold up north.
They also had summer homes, which were up north.
Yeah, that makes sense. Back then it wasn't the same kind of way we have it today.
That one's rentable through the Club Hotel. You can even rent one of the rooms for the whole cottage, and it's $20,000, so it's $10,000 less than trade. But like I said, you gotta have the wedding package if you want the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
And Eddie Jr. also died in there at around 5 in the morning. I'm not sure what year he died. But.
And this is the back of the Crane Cottage, or the other side.
There's a courtyard in there, and there's a garden on the other side of this wall here. This over here is the Faith Chapel, built in 1904, same year as Cherokee over there. But it was the second chapel built in this location. The first one burned down. See up on the roof there, there's some gargoyles.
Yeah, I see that.
Replicas of the ones that were on Notre Dame. The main reason they stuck them up there was to ward off the evil spirits that they thought burned down the first one. That stained glass window in the front was designed, installed, and signed by Louis Tiffany himself.
Wow.
So if you go in there during the daytime tours, you can see the sunlight behind it. But if you come back at night, they got a backlight behind it, and you can really tell how gorgeous it is. But there's a plexiglass weatherproofing on there, so you can't really tell all about it. That's the chapel does one service a year, and it's for Easter, and it's that stained glass window in the front. Like I said, it was from Tiffany's. An interesting story about that. Mr. Tiffany designed it for a friend who was a club member who had died earlier that year. And then when he came down to Jekyll to install it as a memorial, he offered the Jekyll Club a sum of money plus his window to become a member. And they said, that was a nice gift that you put in Faith Chapel. We're keeping it. And that's not enough money, so no.
That's a big chapel, isn't it? It's like the size of a small church, basically, isn't it?
Yeah. Here's going to be a second stained glass window back here on the back of Faith. And this one was from General Counselor of Italy, Maitland Armstrong. The Italian government official was coming down for a business meeting with one of the club members, and when he saw Mr. Tiffany gifting the window over there, he had to gift one on behalf of Italy.
That was the year they should have invited a lot of people to come visit. They would just gift a lot of things.
Did things, considering these were your winter homes and you needed heat.
Yeah, this is the back of the Cherokee. I didn't turn my camera on it.
Plus these cottages came with extravagant escape methods because, like I said, fire was the main way you did things. And if something in your house got on fire, you're more worried about you catching on fire than the rest of your structure. So.
Yeah, wasn't Rockefeller's wife scared of fires or something?
Yeah, I'll show you the back of that cottage.
Oh, okay. Like it had a slide on it or something?
Yeah, he wants to see the slide.
Can we go down the slide?
They're pressing the slide.
Ah, okay, it'll break. It'll probably break.
They don't want you to play with the houses.
You can't see them right now, but coming up to your right will be the servant dormitories, and these were for the white servants only. The black servants were held in a different location, which is behind the firehouse, and the firehouse wasn't there at the time. It was where the amphitheater used to sit and where our carriage house is now. So we got the little concession stands for the was amphitheater.
That's a shame the amphitheater's got such disrepair over the years, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty bad back there.
I mean, I went back there and like it was just rusted and falling over. It has a weird feeling back there too, like, and there's birds back there making noise. We didn't know what the heck that was.
Well, that's because during the time that the amphitheater was going, there wasn't much drug regulation back in the 40s through the 80s, so a bunch of people died back there because it was an outdoor concert hall.
So how old is that amphitheater? When was it built?
Let's see, they put it in 46. I think like 48 is when it was
Gotcha,
built, 48 or
gotcha.
50.
And they abandoned it like in the 70s? Oh, okay,
Because,
good.
like I said, it's
Because I was reading on it, I couldn't find a date when they established it.
So, like I said, that was called Red Row, though. Before the amphitheater was there, it was the servant dormitories for the black slaves.
Gotcha.
They didn't have slaves on the island because all those were at home.
Okay.
But they hired servants to keep the island up year-round. So they stayed there year-round.
And they got to enjoy the perks while everybody was gone.
And they got paid to do it.
That was good. That was good.
These were for the smaller singles, and up there, the larger ones for the married couples. And now Jekyll Island's 30 office buildings. Like I said, you got to have a complaint or suggestion to go in. Over here to the left is the Baker Crane Carriage House. It was built when Mr. Baker built his Solterra Cottage, which meant Earth and Sons, I mentioned earlier. But the original carriage house for all the other millionaires is where our Mosaic, the History Museum, is now. But Mr. Baker thought that those servants couldn't take care of his horses and hunting dogs as well as his own could. So he built a carriage house for them. And then when his Solterra burned down, he sold it to Mr. Crane. And so Mr. Crane had the largest and most expensive cottage, as well as his own carriage house. So he wasn't really well.